I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. It's such a pleasure to speak to you. Maybe you could just kick off with a brief intro to Quant. Can you tell us a little bit about the film?
Hi, so my documentary is about the iconic fashion designer Mary Quant, who started off designing in the late 50s and spanned decades of design and licensing, and was a part of the British invasion and household name. But I want to keep her relevance alive today.
And what inspired you to, take her story, put it on the big screen, and also make it your first documentary?
So I've been producing the last few years, and I got approached by the producers Goldfinch. I think they just saw that maybe I could tell this story, and I think it was important for a woman to direct this. They had faith and belief in me, and they gave me this opportunity, and I just ran with it and researched and prepped and made it the most. I mean, there were moments where I was worried because I'd never directed before, but I really believe that I put everything into it. And after 2 years of hard work, I think it's paid off, and lucky to get into the festival. And then we're getting a release on the 29th of October.
And, you managed to assemble, it's a fantastic array of people for the film. What were some of the highlights, but maybe some of the challenges?
So the challenges were that we had the most amazing people all saying yes. And then when the pandemic initially started and lockdown happened, we lost David Bailey, we lost Kim Jones, and I knew that each of the people I had, and we lost Kate Moss, and but she came back and did audio. Was that how am I going to tell this story? I needed Kim Jones to talk about Dior, and I needed Kate to talk about supermodels in the 60s, and David Bailey to talk about the photography. But then I just had to kind of slightly rearrange the story, but not too much, because I brought in other people, and I kind of got Pete Townshend, or I got Paul Simonon, or I got Vivienne Westwood, and I kind of directed, funneled my topics with them to kind of embellish the narrative that I'd written, and so that was the challenges, and what was the highlights. Well, I mean, just talking to everyone from Zandra Rhodes to Pete Townshend, just getting everyone's support. I think it was fun just sitting in the edit for a year, and drinking tea and watching the screen, and eating cheese sandwiches, and just feeling like locked up in that. It was a real kind of security, like when the pandemic was happening, that I had this. It was just with me the whole time. I'd get up at 5 a.m, I'd be on my computer. It was just something that kept me going, and I worked with lovely people, and I'm just it's hopefully just the start of something I want to do. I want to carry on directing documentaries, and I want to do a feature as well. So.
And what do you hope the impact of your film to be? What do you want people to take away? And why do you think it's so important to go back and tell women's stories and have women storytellers?
So I think people will hopefully be entertained. It's an up film. The music's great. Tells a story that is inspiring. It has emotion. It has parts of it that are sad. When Mary's kind of career tails off, but that's part of life, and her relationships, and all of that kind of stuff. But it follows her closely, and has lots of social studies and studies about women and the role of women, how they've changed. So I think it's very important for people to know what Mary did and what that generation did for women. My daughter's a fashion student, and I think hopefully in St. Martin's they'll be, they won't just be talking about what's happening in fashion today. They'll be really going back and saying this is where a lot of it began, and Mary should always be on the map. A lot of these people in their 80s and 90s are not going to be around that much longer, and to document her life and do this film about what was going on. I think, even I learned from it, and I was born in the 60s, so I think everyone that saw it last night just said, I didn't know that. So, and there were people from 19 to 90 that were there last night that really enjoyed it.
What better place for it to be showing than London?
Exactly. So happy in the London Film Festival. It's going to be released on the 29th on the King's Road. So I couldn't have got a better scenario for the whole thing, really.
I'm out of time, but it's so lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Enjoy the rest of the festival.